Welcome to Chanel's Reality. I'm Chanel, and this is my reality. So listen, I wanted to come on here today or tonight, actually. Um, Talk to you guys about Wendy Williams. I haven't been on here in a while. Been on some other people's channels who I think are interesting people. Y'all should definitely check out. Um, One guy, his channel is called what is it called? It's called the Wildest Wake Up Show or something like that. There's a guy, he's a host named Sharon, and they talk a lot about like Black people, women versus men, and vice versa. It's very interesting over there. It's a different crowd. And then there's this other channel that I've been hanging out with called The Drip Show or something like that. So shout out to Mr. Drip and Shanika and all the people over there. I've been having lots of fun with them. But tonight I wanted to come on here because I haven't been on here in a while and talk about Wendy Williams. So listen, Wendy Williams has been in this, what I would call, well, okay, let me start over. Thank you for joining me tonight on Chanel's Reality. Like I said, I'm Chanel, and this is my reality. Everything I say on Chanel's Reality is, in my opinion, is for entertainment purposes only, and it is all alleged. Okay, so we're just gonna start there. But so Wendy Williams, for the younger crowd, or maybe the unborn crowd, she was a talk show host. She started out in radio years ago, and she eventually became very famous, I think, with like reporting on salacious topics about celebrities like Whitney Houston. I think crack is whack and all that kind of stuff. And then with Mariah Carey and just other people. So anyway, she was the big name in daytime TV. Lots of people followed her. But again, she talked a lot about the salaciousness of Hollywood. She talked candidly about Diddy and got fired from one of her radio shows back in the day. That's another story for another day. But anyways, so after she left her show, I think maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3. I don't know how many years it's been at this point, but after she got a divorce and then she ended up taking hiatus from her show, the Wendy Williams show, then it became the Sherri Shepherd show. And I think it's still the Sherri Shepherd show today. But I don't watch it. Like, love Sherri Shepherd, I just don't watch it. But I didn't watch Wendy like that either. Like, I would watch her sometimes. But anyways, after she divorced her husband, it seemed like, and he, listen, Kelvin didn't seem like a good, decent human being anyways, because he'd been cheating on Wendy Williams for years with this other lady named, I think like Selena or Sabrina or something like that. I don't know. And Wendy was like, I know you cheating over there, but just don't have no baby. But he ended up having a break baby or a baby. I don't know. They had a baby. And then when that became a hot topic, she divorced him and then went on by her way. But it seemed like ever since then, her life has done like a downward spiral. And, so what we've heard over the years, not much was confirmed, but we heard that she had been put into a conservatorship, which basically, I used to work for Child Protective Services and I used to work for Bethesda. And when I worked for Bethesda, I had to deal a lot with guardians, which in every state is going to be different. They may call it something else in a different state, but basically there's different types of guardianship. Some guardianships are very extreme, like the one remember that Free Britney campaign? That was a more restrictive, extreme, in my opinion, conservatorship where you don't have no control over your finances, no control over where you live, what you do, who you date, not even control over your body. Like, that's a super, in my opinion, restrictive guardianship. And all of it was a mess. Every single stage of it, in my opinion. So now we have Wendy Williams, who is, I don't know none of these people. So like I said, it's all alleged on Chanel's Reality. But from what I could tell, it seems as though she's in one of those egregious type of conservatorships where it kind of started a few years ago where we would hear like little chirps in the streets where it would be like, oh, Wendy Williams needs her money from Wells Fargo or something with Wells Fargo. And it was just kind of like, well, what the, because I'm like, well, I don't bank with Wells Fargo, but my mortgage is with Wells Fargo. So I'm like, what the fuck Wells Fargo? Like, let me find out y'all over there messing up my money. Right. No, but so it was sort of like, from what I recall, basically like Wells Fargo. So, okay, let me say it like this. Once you reach a certain level of, what's the right word? Financial freedom, they call them, what do they, Chase always be sending me these private selection clients, stuff like that. I'm not Wendy Williams level at all, but I'm just saying, you get what I'm saying. Basically, once you reach a certain status financially, when even if you're not Wendy Williams and don't have millions of dollars, when your spending habits become different suddenly, then your bank will send some sort of fraud alert, or like they'll put the brakes on it, like what the fuck is going on. And I think that's what was happening a few years with Wendy Williams. And it was just kind of like, at first, like I said, nothing was really confirmed. I'm like, is her husband still over there, with his little shady self, him and Sabrina, Selena, whatever the hell her name is trying to, cipher out Wendy Williams' money? Like, what's going on? And then I heard like her son had like a $2 million like apartment in Miami or something like that. And I'm like, well, he need a $2 million apartment for, but he Wendy Williams' son, so whatever, you got it. But it was like he was getting ready to get kicked out of his apartment or his townhouse or whatever it was. And same thing with like Kelvin and his girlfriend. And it was just a hot ass mess. And I'm like, how you been living off this lady's fortune all this time and duping this lady out her money, and y'all didn't even save no money? Like, fuck yeah. Anyway, don't get me started. So I'm just kind of like, that looks shady, but again, you never know, right? So over the past, I would say, year or two, they've done like, I think Lifetime did like a documentary about Wendy Williams. I never watched it. I saw like clips of it. I just need to get myself in the right frame of mind to watch it, because I just feel like there's a few things going on. I do feel like she's being taken advantage of. I do feel like, just from the outside looking in, from what's reported, it does seem like the court system, the conservator, they don't seem to have her best interest at heart. But I don't think that they're wrong about everything. Just based on what I listened to on the Breakfast Club, they did an interview with her either yesterday or today. I can't remember. I think it was either yesterday or today. I have some comments. Hold on, let's see. Hey, Carmen. You're so sweet, beautiful. Thank you, boo. Carmen says, where are you, Gucci? Where are my Gucci glasses? They right here, sis. You silly. Tim, Casey. Hey, boo. Thank you for stopping by. And Carmen says the industry did that to her intentionally, and it's really effed up. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Thank you, TMKC. I really appreciate you stopping by my show. I really appreciate the love. You too, Carmen. So anyway, from what I can tell, it seems like, okay, let's back up. When you get a conservatorship over someone, it's typically because they are unable or unfit to take care of themselves in some capacity. So like I was saying, when I used to work for Bethesda, we had clients that they had intellectual disabilities, right? So that means that their intellectual mindset only goes so far. So they need someone like me or our organization to kind of step in and make sure, that they aren't being taken advantage of by their family, by other people, by whomever, right? They're not able to do it on their own. But just because someone has conservatorship doesn't mean that it shouldn't mean, let me say it like that, shouldn't mean that you don't have any of your rights. What Britney Spears was in, from what I could tell, they seemed like they took all that lady's rights. Like, she didn't even have rights over her body. It was just kind of like, we monitoring who you having sex with, and you have to have a whatever that thing is that you put in your insert. I think it's some sort of birth control thing. And I'm just like, so, and this is the problem. The reason that Britney Spears case became so big and so like national, almost worldwide, I would say, is because of how restrictive the people were that were supposed to be put in place to help her. Right. So it's like, oh, she's bipolar, or oh, she has this mental illness and she doesn't have the capacity to be able to do this and this and that and make these decisions for herself. But yet y'all say she have the capacity to sign contracts, multi-million dollar contracts, to be a superstar and residency in Vegas. Like, it just doesn't add up. So which is it? Is she this person that can't manage her own finances, can't manage her own body, can't manage when she should eat, can't manage where she should live? Or is she this lady that can sign multi-million-dollar contracts for a Vegas residency? You have to have a high level of competency to do that. And that's why a lot of people was like, this shit don't add up. And I think ultimately that's how come she was able to eventually get herself out of that. But it was a lot of people looking out for her. You know, I feel like over years, this lady was stuck in this conservatorship. If you get an opportunity, there's a movie that came out years ago. It's called I Care a Lot. And it shows you basically how people will and can put you in a conservatorship and you're not even aware of it. And they're predatory. They're predatory. They know that you're older. Maybe you're older and you're taking care of yourself and you living your best life and you know, out here clipping your roses, you know, in your rose garden. But they feel like, okay, I'm gonna put this older lady in a conservatorship, and there's ways to do it. But back to Wendy Williams. So it appears that she's in a conservatorship that's extremely restrictive. I'm gonna play some of the stuff, some of the interview that she did with Charlamagne. I call him Girlamagne because I really can't stand Girlamagne. He works my nerves. DJ Envy, I don't like him either because he's a fraudster, in my opinion. From that stuff he was doing, scheming, him and that other guy. Yeah, scheming them people out of millions of dollars. But anyways, that's another story for another day. And the other lady, I think her name is, I can't remember her name. Something funny. I can't remember her name. But she'll say it on here. So this lady from the Breakfast Club went and tried to visit Wendy Williams. And this is the interview. I know we can't play all of it because it's probably copyright restricted or something like that, but I'm going to try to play as much as I can. So let's just take a listen. Oh, hold on. I have to bring it up.
Well, first of all, to start with, my niece Alex knows a lot as well, you know, but I am not cognitively impaired. You know what I'm saying? No, but I feel like I am in prison. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like I'm in New York City, right? And by the way, my apartment has been sold, thank God, you know, a while ago. But I'm in this place where the people are in their 90s and their 80s and their 70s, and even when people are 60 like me, hey, I'm sexy and gorgeous.
That's
you know,
right.
I am 60. Look, please, July 18th, 1964, honey. But look, these people, I don't care if they're 50 and 60. They have look, there's something wrong with these people here on this floor. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'm not saying something bad. I'm just saying that I am with these people. I am clearly not, look, I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner right here on the bed. All right. I watch TV. I listen to radio. I look at the window. I talk on the phone. And by the way, Alex, talk about this phone, please. Alex, you've been right here where I am, so you know exactly what you're.
So she is you'll hear Wendy Williams refer to that lady, or she'll use another word because she cannot use the conservatorship lady's name, or she'll probably get sued. Oh, and by the way, that documentary or whatever that was that Lifetime did, I don't know if you call it a documentary or whatever it was, but the presentation that they did, the show that they did with Wendy Williams, trying to, I basically, in my opinion, expose what was going on with her. They talked about the conservatorship lady's name. They talked about her and everything that was going on. And since then, that lady has sued Lifetime, and I think Lifetime is now suing her. And so because Wendy Williams, you know, doesn't want to get into another legal battle, she's refraining, in my opinion, from saying that lady's name. So she will refer to her niece to talk for her. But I hate doing this because I don't want to point something out and then it's like your mind goes to go look for it. But just listen to what Wendy Williams is saying, how she's speaking, how she's responding, and then think to yourself, is this the person who sounds like they need to be in a conservatorship of this type, because like I said, hers is really restrictive to the point where like she lives in, like, I would say it seems like from what they describe, like a hospital setting, but like a luxurious condo-ish type hospital setting where you have your own room, but you're on a floor where, okay, so for example, if you go to a nice enough hotel, you're not going to be able to get onto any of the floors of the hotel without a key card. And you can only get the key card if you have a room there, or if someone else that has a room there gives you a key card. So like with Wendy Williams, the way she's going to talk about it, she can't leave her floor. Seems like she has to have someone come and get her and, do the whole thing. So she is, in my opinion, from what I've listened to, kind of like a bird in a gilded cage. And it's kind of sad. But anyways, let's get back to it.
Talking about you flew from Miami to New York and you were right here with me. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, what she's saying is exactly what's happened. She's there in New York, in this place, essentially like what some would call a luxury prison, right? This is her room. That's literally her apartment. But the thing about this apartment, and you know this, not Wendy, because you're there, it's small. She has a bed, a chair, a TV, a bathroom, and she's looking out one window. The buildings across the street. That's her life.
Wayfair helps all of us create a home we love.
The Wayfair vibe at our place, Western.
But we all got our own thing.
Excuse me, and excuse me, through my money, I had this person buy the TV, the kind of TV I like, a large TV. You understand what I'm saying? Through this person, because all of my stuff is in storage. You understand what I'm saying? Everything's in storage. And by the way, that was to sell my apartment. But anyway.
Is the person your guardian? Is that who you're referring to, your guardian?
Yes.
Well, Sabrina Morrissey is her name. And right now, A&E Network.
Right. I don't need to get copywritten, so hold on. Let me take this down because they will come and yank my whole video down. Let me stop sharing. I wonder if... I wonder if I could play it in the background if y'all could still hear it. Let me know if y'all can't hear it.
And what do I think about being abused? Listen, me and the person that you were just talking about, this guardian person, we watched that 4-part thing on TV together. She was the one who wanted to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm watching and writing things down, and she's watching and writing things down. And I saw her. I saw all of that, by the way. And what do I think about being abused? Listen, look. This system is broken. That this system that I'm in. This system, it has falsified a lot. You know what I'm saying?
They said you're cognitively impaired and you're incapacitated.
Do I seem that way?
No.
You've been
God
calling,
damn it.
you've been
No,
calling me
no.
5 times a day for the last 2 weeks. No, you don't seem that way.
You're right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Excuse me, there are 7 pills. I have no idea what is this pill doing. What is it going to listen? I haven't been to a pill person in a matter of long time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And to the point where, excuse me, doctor, can you tell me what this pill is for? Excuse me, doctor, what pill do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
Look, for the last 3 years, I have been caught up in the system. This has been 3 years. I'm caught up in this system. Alex, go talk. Talk,
Yeah.
Alex. Talk.
No, I mean, for 3 years, this is the reality. This has been our lives. So, but specifically her life. She can call us. We can't call her. That's been the reality since 2023.
Wow. Alex,
That room that she's sitting in, she's there every day, all hours of the day, every week, every month. She's not getting proper sunlight. I went to New York in October to visit her, and the level of security and the level of questions that there were in terms of who am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose? I mean, it was absolutely just.
Welcome to the Waverhood.
The Wayfair vibe at our place.
Horrible.
You know, Alex, we sent Lauren LaRosa, who.
Okay, so again, if you're listening to her speak, it sounds a lot to me like she's parodying. So, you know, like how they say the parrots they'll mimic what you say or repeat what you say. Like you'll hear her say, excuse me. And then she'll have a thought and you know that, she's trucking along and you know that, okay, this thought is coming along. And then all of a sudden it's like, she'll jump and then she'll say, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like when she was talking about the pills and stuff like that. And it's like, so for me, as a person that works in the mental health space, and has worked in mental health hospitals or behavioral health hospitals, things like that, I can tell when there's something not right. So that's one part of it. The other part of it feels like what I would call memory fog. So I know that there's been some people out there that have said she, like her conservatorship, people are saying she's basically completely incapacitated, which basically means someone who's like total care. They can't do anything for themselves. A lot of times people that are total care have like feeding tubes and things like that. That does not sound like what Wendy Williams is. However, does sound to me like there is some memory issue. So that's why I said to me, it seems like a lot of parodying, like she's repeating herself. And then it sounds like there's memory fog, like she was on her way to say something and then she lost her way. So it almost feels like it's kind of chopped up. And it also sounds like someone, like I know people have reported that she has dementia. And a lot of times, and again, I am not a doctor, but I've worked with patients who have memory care concerns like dementia and Alzheimer's. So sometimes you'll have those types of patients and you have to have a certain eye for it. Like you have to have experience in it. But I'm just saying, what it sounds like to me is sometimes those type of patients can repeat things and tell you stories, and to the person that has no idea that something else is going on, it'll sound like, oh, they told me this great story from when, they were a teenager, or from when, back in Wendy's case, back in my radio days or back in my TV days, they'll like tell you those stories, but it is not from them really being able to talk to you one-on-one and tell you a story of something new. They're usually going to talk to you about things that have already have a memory bank. So it's like, I feel like part of it is that. Part of it, there's some memory banked information there, but then there's some memory loss. And then feels like some sort of cognitive distortion, which basically cognitive is kind of like your ability to think and put things together, right? To formulate a thought, a sentence, an experience, whatever. So it seems like there's some cognitive I would say concerns, but I didn't see anything in any part of this video whatsoever or interview that said to me she should be in a facility of any sort, especially if she has loving, caring family members who can care for her. Like, I would say she does need someone. Like, if you were asking me, no one's really asking me, but I'm just saying, if you were asking me, I would say, yeah, something's there. It's no different than, like, you know how you have a grandma, your grandmother, and she can kind of, or he can, they can remember, to get up in the morning, and they know how to do normal things like make their food, or maybe still drive their vehicle and things like that. But there may be some areas where they may miss something, right? So they may forget their medication. They may forget how to make a doctor's appointment, or forget that they have a doctor's appointment. So I don't think I'm just saying, from what I hear in the video and in the interview, it doesn't sound like to me she needs to be in a conservatorship where she can't do nothing for herself. It doesn't sound like that to me at all. It sounds like she's a person who probably has some sort of mental impairment or some level of it. But you got to remember, when people think about mental illness of any sort, they think in extremes. So you either are, like, if you're bipolar, you must be about to jump off the building or going crazy on your mama. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be an extreme case of bipolar or an extreme case of adjustment disorder or behavior disorder or whatever it is. Psychosis is a different thing. Psychosis is you need someone you need regulation and someone to probably stabilize you. Usually that happens in a hospital. But she doesn't sound like that. She sounds like a person who has memory fog and some memory issues, but it doesn't sound like to me that she can't put two and two together. It also doesn't sound like to me that Wendy Williams needs to be back on TV or back on radio personally, unless there's a way to, well, I take that back. Because here on YouTube, right, anybody can be on YouTube. I was going to say, unless there's a way to edit it and all that. So I think she shouldn't be live. That's what I think. I think she could have interviews that she could do with celebrities or whoever it is that she wants to do it with, and then they edit it for her. And then she could still be in this space or be in the news space or celebrity news space or pop culture or whatever it is. I think she could definitely do that. And I don't think that she would need anybody to really kind of, I don't think she would need a lot of help with that. I think she would need help with the editing part and making sure she stays on course and stuff like that. But like, she has people, she knows people in the industry that would be able to come there, surround her, and make sure that, they put out a good work product. Sorry, Carmen. I don't know what was going on that you guys couldn't hear. You said, Carmen said she always talked that way though. She did. But it's different. I'm telling you, because Wendy Williams her show was live, except for when they, did the reruns. So her show was live, and this is different, in my opinion. It's different. And I can't play all of it because copyrights, like I told you, Breakfast Club and Charlamagne and his crew, they'll be on here trying to take Chanel's reality down. Me and my 500 subscribers. Or do I don't even know how many subscribers I have left or have yet. But anyway, I encourage everybody to go and listen to it. I'm going to try to share with you guys as much as I can, but it's so much of it that I can't share because it's copywritten. So this young lady in the Leopard or whatever this is, she states that, so this lady right here, she says that she went to where Wendy Williams is living to visit her. And she was on the phone with Wendy Williams, and she's like, coming into the building. And she said when she went in the building, she's like telling them, hey, yeah, I'm here to see Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams is on the phone saying, yes, I approve for her to come. And I'm paraphrasing, right? And let her up and whatever. And so the people that work there, apparently, this is what happens, allegedly. The people that work wherever Wendy Williams is currently living called Wendy Williams' conservator, right? Her guardian or whatever, so to speak, to get permission, which that is a part of guardianship. And like I say, it's different for every state. It's not going to be always the same. And I've dealt with guardians, and they're there really kind of like a mediator or go-between, like a liaison, so to speak. And then sometimes they're there and they have total control. Like the guardians that I dealt with, they didn't really have, I wouldn't say that they had total control because they lived in our homes, but I had to get permission to do things, or well, I wouldn't say permission, I would say authorization. So like if one of my clients needed a new bed, and I would be like, okay, I went on to go find a new bed. The bed cost $5,000, and then I would have to send it to the guardian to say, can you approve this $5,000 purchase, like that? So it was like levels to it. But then there were other things you didn't have to do all of that for. But with what Wendy Williams has set up, it sounds like her guardian has a whole bunch of restrictions in place, because the worst part of this to me is that like her family can't visit her. Like it seems like it has to be very much like planned out and like authorized. That's why I say authorized. Yeah, it has to be authorized. And that's sad to me on one hand. On one hand. On the other hand, depending on the level of issue that person may have, you could certainly take advantage of people that aren't cognitively fully there. So the reason I say on the other hand is because, remember, I told you at the very top of this video, Wendy Williams, a few years ago, when we first started learning about it, there was this thing with Wells Fargo where it was like they put like some sort of hold on her account. And if your bank is putting a hold on your account because they're saying something is happening and we don't think it's you, they're doing that to protect their money, right? Because your money being in their bank allows them to lend money. So they protecting their assets as well. But also too, they to some degree have a judiciary responsibility to protect you, the client too. So it seemed like at that time, people were ciphering off this lady's money. So that's why I say you can't always just say, well, the family should be able to be a part of this, or the family shouldn't have to do this, that, and the third, because it is what it is. And I ain't gonna hold you. Shout out to Mr. Drip, because he always say that. Now I'm saying it in my head anyway. But it's like your family sometimes do you the dirtiest. Just saying. Not everybody family, not my family. I'm just saying people will do you dirty. And I do believe I 100% believe people were ciphering off Miss Wendy Williams's money. And that's why Wells Fargo put some sort of hold on it. That's my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know none of these people. I wasn't there. So I don't know. It's all alleged. So on one hand, I do think that your family should have some sort of rights, especially I can't see, this is the problem that I'm having with this situation. Truly, only a doctor is authorized to say whether or not Wendy Williams is able to, if she's really mentally incapacitated. That's true. It just is what it is. You will be assessed by a psychiatrist, right? And they would be able to determine whether or not you have they have all kinds of tests, right? That they can run with you to see, like mental status tests, to see whether or not, you're able to do certain things. And based on those tests, they will be able to determine, the level of care that you're going to need. You know what I'm saying? Or if you don't need any care at all, like, you know what I mean? And then beyond that, then you have, what's the right word? So then you would have a treatment plan, right? That someone will put into place if treatment could be something that could work for you. Now, if you have something like dementia or Alzheimer's, that's a medical thing, even though it's part of it is a psych thing, because so the medical part is your brain is getting eaten up, right? The dementia or whatever is eating at your brain, which is causing brain damage, which is causing you to not be able to remember things or have normal functioning, right? Or it's going to decline. And depending on if you have, I believe dementia declines much faster at a much faster rate than Alzheimer's. But again, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on that. But so she would have to have a psychiatrist to make that determination of if there is mental illness and if she needs some sort of treatment plan to help her get better or whatever. What's the treatment plan to get her to where she needs to go? And if she is diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia, which I feel like they said dementia, but I'm not sure. So that's the medical part. So there's a medical component that would be able to say, yes, she has dementia, what stage is in and all that, right? But that being said, I haven't heard a doctor or even her niece say, or her son that I can remember say, yeah, she was diagnosed with this disorder or this medical issue, right? And as a result, she's not able to do X, Y, and Z. That's why I'm having trouble. It's one thing if a guardianship says that this person doesn't have the mental capacity or this, that, and the third. They can't make that distinction. A doctor has to. So the only way for them to appeal that to the court to say she needs a conservatorship and this is why, they have to have someone with the MD and or a PhD attached to their name to be able to do that. To say she has basically zero capacity to care for herself. That's where I'm having the problem, because I haven't heard them say that. I've heard people throw out the word dementia, but I haven't heard Wendy's team that I know of say, even in this interview, that, you know, she's been diagnosed with dementia and she has a deteriorating, you know, capacity. And let's be clear, it's her personal medical diagnosis. So they don't have to share it with us, right? Technically, legally, they can't unless she signs off on, you know, gives consent. So there's that. But what I'm saying is, if you're not going to come out of the gate and say that she's been seen by a psychiatrist and a medical doctor, and they both agree that whatever her illness is, she does not need to be in a like full total care type of environment, then I don't know how her conservatorship people were able to petition the court and get a court order, because you can't get conservatorship without one, at least in Texas. So that means you got to go to the court and you have to present enough information, right, that says these are the reasons that we think this person needs to be in this conservatorship. So for example, if Child Protective Services comes to the school because the teacher, the nurse, whomever, right, reported that the child was being abused physically, and they come to the school and they make a determination that, yeah, this child is in imminent danger, yada, yada, yada. Yes, you can take custody immediately. You can, but you would have to prove, again, you have a meeting, you and your supervisor are going to have a meeting, then your supervisor and your program director going to have a meeting, and everybody's going to come to the consensus that this child, if we leave them in this home with these people or let them go home with these people, then there's a high probability that child is going to be in grave danger, right? And you can remove immediately, you know. But even when you go and do that, you still have to go to the court. You still have to write a whole, you know, affidavit. This is what happened. This is what we were, you know, were able to recover. This is what, you know, we witnessed, da, 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 da. Here, judge, this is our proof of why we had to take immediate custody. It's no real difference when you're doing a conservatorship. You still have to go. There needs to be an investigation. There needs to be somebody to like, what's the right word? Justify and corroborate whatever said conservatorship person's findings are. So in Wendy Williams' case, there should be some doctor, and if she has a medical condition like dementia, there should be a medical doctor that's saying, hey, this lady, hang on one second, guys. Sorry, guys, my husband is looking for the box of something I put away in the freezer. Anyway, now I forgot where I was in the story. But anyways, in order for a conservatorship to happen with Wendy Williams, the people who are petitioning the court still have to have some sort of documentation of an assessment of a doctor's findings to say, this is why we're saying that this lady needs to be in a conservatorship. And from that interview, the interview we listening to, she doesn't sound like a person that doesn't have enough cognitive ability to live on her own. I definitely think, just from listening to what she's saying during the interview, she needs to have someone there with her. because if you listen to the interview, she seems like she gets lost sometimes. But anyways, back to the young lady that I was telling you guys. This lady right here. So she says she shows up at the location or building or whatever where Wendy lives. And she goes, I guess, like I said, she talks to the people at the front desk. She has Wendy on the phone, and Wendy's like, yeah, she's a lady. She's coming to visit me. I know her, blah, blah, blah. Let her up or come bring her to me or bring me down, whatever. And apparently, from what this lady is saying, allegedly, then the people called the conservatorship worker lady that I guess makes all the rules and puts everything in place to either verify or get permission, authorization for this lady to be able to go up and see Wendy Williams. And at some point, she said that 2 or 3 men came out and were kind of like basically told her Wendy Williams doesn't live here. I was like, yo, she was on the phone with her. What are you talking about? The lady doesn't live here. Are you kidding me? I don't know this lady. She works for the Breakfast Club, so I'm assuming what she's saying is true, but I don't know this lady, so I don't know if it's true or not. But how did the first set of people say, yeah, okay, let's call her conservatorship worker, and then suddenly this patient doesn't even live here? It's like, come on, y'all, knock it out. So I couldn't tell in this interview if she was actually able to get to her. I think she was actually able to talk with Wendy Williams, because she said something about when she saw her, Wendy said, oh, you have a Chanel bag or something like that. I think that's what she said, or she may have said she saw it out the window. I can't remember. But my personal opinion is I don't think she needs to be in a conservatorship. I don't think that. But I do think she needs financial people in her. I think she needs people to manage her finances. I personally think that, just to protect her, because she does seem like something isn't all the way there. But I don't think she needs to be locked away in some hospital type condo where she can't make decisions on who can come and go. I don't think she needs that. Not yet. I'm not saying she won't need it at some point, but not yet. And like she says in the thing, she's only like 60. That's like the new 40. I'm almost 50. I'm just saying. She's good. Okay. I'm just saying. Let me see what else I can let y'all listen to, because I know I can't let y'all listen to this part. But that's the story she's telling. So let's listen.
But here's the thing, is that Sabrina wasn't communicative, and that's her guardian, wasn't communicative with me. It was almost as if she was waiting for the other shoe to drop so she could have a getcha moment when it comes with me, the family, and how we move about things. I mean, for someone that was, is so up in arms in terms of she can't be seen, there was no security for her. There was no, layout in terms of a plan, how this is supposed to work. I mean, thank God, you know what I mean? I knew what to do, and the trip was fine. But this trip, unfortunately, came off the heels of in July with my aunt's birthday, where I was supposed to go up there and spend her birthday with her, and all of a sudden, there was a lockdown on that. And not only was there a lockdown on that in terms of me visiting, but with you, Aunt Wendy, with being able to do what you want to do for your birthday. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, for the last 3 years, I've spent my birthday by myself. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know what I'm saying? That's fine. That's fine, just because it's fine. Like I would rather spend birth by myself than open the door and spend my birthday with these people on this floor. Look, this is what is called emotional abuse. You know what I'm saying?
I would call it guardianship abuse as well. And you talked about it a little bit when you saw all that. Do we have any?
No, I was going to say, you know what? My life, and Charlamagne, about my life, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To get divorced was as far as I'm concerned, was a 100% fabulous thing. You know what I'm saying? When I got divorced, I had this lawyer. I don't even want to say her beautiful name because it was so great. I've gotten a divorce like nobody else has gotten a divorce, and I don't want to talk about it. But Alex, you know about that. Charlamagne. Did I ever tell you about my divorce?
You did, and I don't want to know nothing. I don't know anything. Okay? That man has tried to ruin me several times already. No.
people who are listening to do? What do you?
Incapacitated person.
Not at
And
all.
she like, that's why we say she's in like, for the woman that she is now, that's what we're going to do.
Wait, I have $15. I have $15.
There you have
What
it.
does that do?
Right. There you have it. And you know,
I'm not playing with them.
incapacitated person.
Not at
And
all.
she like, that's why we say she's in like a luxury prison.
Yes.
Because she's being.
So her niece just asked Charlamagne or the Breakfast Club people. She was like, does she sound like a incapacitated person? And that's the part that I picked. I'm picking back up on. And I don't think she sounds like a person who was completely incapacitated. No, at all. But I do think that she sounds like someone who could benefit from someone who cares about her, that loves her, being there to protect her finances and to protect her, her rights and her, liberties to be able to go out into the world. It's just, to me, it's sad to watch it. It's sad to watch it. Anyway, let's keep listening.
Held and she is being punished. You know what I mean? For whatever reason that other people are coming up with as to why it is she has to be kept in this position. We're not asking, for a whole lot. And I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not asking for a whole lot. All I'm saying is just treat the woman with dignity.
Absolutely.
And give her the freedoms that she deserves.
I agree.
Well, let's say what Wendy wants. Wendy wants to be, released out of this conservatorship, but she wants to be in Miami
with her family.
You can't listen. We can't have no picture of Charlamagne up here. Sorry, y'all.
Where I was born, all right? But then, I moved up to Ocean Township, and then my parents were the first ones in the family that said, no, we're tired of the cold and the winter and the ice. So they moved, and this was years ago, you know what I'm saying? I was 27 when they moved to Miami. Anyway, the entire family now lives in Miami. And look, my son is doing such a great job. As a matter of fact, I saw him. Look, he graduated, and I was in Miami, and that was about a month ago.
Yep.
Alex, talk about the great time that we had, and seeing my dad. We all went out and had like a party at one point.
Yeah.
Your dad's gonna be 94 next month, right?
Listen, my dad.
That's a whole nother in a conservatorship when that happened.
Oh.
But that period of time was right before, and to know that she may not be able to come down here for my grandfather's 94th birthday. Yeah. Every day is not promised.
Right.
One thing that I know that my aunt wanted, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, she wants to be here for his birthday. Wow. And the fact that they are playing games about my grandfather being able to see his daughter and my aunt being able to see her father, I'm sorry. That is just absolutely sickening.
Like I'm exhausted thinking about what if I can't see my dad for his birthday? At 94, the day after that is not promised. It's not promised. I have things from my dad that's in storage. And they're little things that I say, I'm not going to give it to him, but I'm going to sew them and make them so that they look perfect on me. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I know how to sew. I've known how to sew for years. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, I want to give my dad some sort of fragrance. I want to go to Sephora and pick and choose. What? My life is like fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alex, do you think that there'll be some type of
Wayfair helps all of us create a home we love.
The Wayfair vibe at our place is Western.
But we all got our own clip of what we've been dealing with for the last several months and the last 2-3 years.
Wow.
Like, what the hell?
Like, she can get moved and we may not even know where she is.
Wow.
That was the reality of where she was during the documentary. We weren't permitted to go see her. So this whole documentary aired. Nobody's able to call her. Nobody's able to see her. The reason why I was doing the stuff with The View and Good Morning America was because she was nowhere to be found.
Wow.
In the meantime,
what are we going to do about that?
Listen, here's the weird thing, right? And while you're on The View, right, I got the telephone number. I could call Joy Behar, but my number is with The Guardian. I could call my friend Rosanna Scotto. I could call Fat Joe. I could call Alex. my number is not in storage, but my guardian person has my phone.
Right.
God damn.
Alex, let me ask you a
Has
question.
had it, excuse me, has had it for 3 years, by the way.
Wow.
She's had your phone for 3 years, and she got control of all your bank accounts and everything.
That's so messed up.
Normal things that I like I need a new hairbrush, please. Go out and get it for me and bring it back. Oh no, this is not the one that I want, but I guess this is the one that I'm forced to use. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh
What about
my God.
eyelashes? What about eyelashes?
I'm not saying.
Look. I'm the full hair makeup.
Able to leave your place. You can't see people. You can't just have free conversation. You do this day in and day out for months and for years at a time. Emotionally and mentally, that breaks you down in ways that I can't even imagine. I mean, we know that. There have been stories written about that.
Can I tell you something? And this is a fact. Yeah. I asked the other day, I said, listen, my thyroid, I want to go to the person that I've been going to for years. I've got her name, you know what I'm saying? And that is who I want to go to. Again, you know what I'm saying? Because thyroid I've had for 24 years. I found out about thyroid, around the time, at the time that I was trying to get pregnant, and my son is 24. So that's how I can, tell, my thyroid. Anyway,
you see what I'm saying? This is what I mean by I'm no doctor, but I worked in the mental health space and at mental hospitals or behavioral health hospitals with people who have serious mental health concerns, diagnosis, or people who are in psychosis, things of that nature. She doesn't seem like any of those things, but there's something going on. Remember how I was saying at the top of the video about it feels like memory fog. And I think that, because people have been saying for years, or it's just been out there in the streets, so to speak, that, maybe she has dementia or something like that, which is a medical disorder or condition, where basically it kind of eats your brain is getting eaten up by the disease. And as a result of that, your memory fades and you forget certain things. And eventually, unfortunately, you're no longer alive. And it's a very, very, a really treacherous disease. But I can't say that she has it because I don't know her and I'm not there. But I could definitely, like when you were listening to her, if you listen to her talk about her thyroid, right? What it sounds like she's referring to is she either has hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, which is the overactive. Your thyroid's basically a hormone gland in your throat, and it regulates your body and what your body does or doesn't do. And you either have a normal one, or you have hyper, which is this overacting. It's making too much of the hormone, the THC. What is it called? It's some sort of, I don't know if it's THC. I don't know if that's the name of the hormone. But anyway, whatever the hormone that the thyroid makes, you have hyper, then it's overly making it. And you could tell when someone, I can tell when someone has it because they start losing weight for no reason. Their eyes are bulging out. Like it's very, I can tell. If they have hypothyroidism, it's the opposite. So then your thyroid isn't making enough of the hormone. So then they have trouble with losing weight. Maybe they have memory fog. They, no matter how much they, change their diet, a lot of times they can't lose the weight and they still gain the weight. They have sensitivity to cold and things like that. Anyways, I'm explaining it to you and I'm not an expert on it, but I know about it. And if you listen to her explaining it, and she's a person who has it, either one or the other, or she has something. I think she probably has the overactive one. And the reason I say that is because she does have the eyes that bulge and stuff like that. And she's dealt with that for a long time. Also, you lose your hair or it thins, things like that. But when she's talking about, I have the thyroid, and I just wanted to go to that lady who had, because the thyroid, for me, when I'm listening to her, she's searching for the right words and they're not coming out right. I know what she's saying. I think the people listening to a degree understand what she's saying, but it is not coming out in a way that a typical, normal, educated adult would talk about a medical condition that they have, that they've been dealing with. if she, in my opinion, had all her faculties in order and in, good working order, it would sound more like my thyroid doctor, who I have, been, he's been managing my thyroid issue for the past 30 years. His name is Dr. Zero, and he, whatever. I would like to speak to him. He works at this hospital, or he has his own private practice, and da. That's more along the lines of someone who doesn't have seemingly some sort of memory concern. And so that's why I'm saying, like, because of that, I could see how someone who isn't the best type of human being that might have a PhD or MD or whatever can get in line with someone else who is another nefarious type of person to say, hey, listen, we're going to get this conservatorship. If we can get this conservatorship for Wendy Williams, it's going to be a cash cow. Everybody going to get paid because they looked right at Britney Spears and what happened with her. And Britney Spears is supposedly incapacitated and couldn't do this and couldn't make decisions for herself, yet she can sign all kinds of multi-million-dollar contracts to have a residency in Vegas. How? She don't have the mental capacity to do it. Didn't y'all tell her that? She don't have the mental capacity to decide whether or not she can have birth control or she can have sex with someone. She doesn't have the mental capacity to, use her own bank account and her funds for what she wants, where she stay, what she eat. But she has the mental capacity to sign multi-million-dollar contracts to have a residency in Vegas and get up every day and go to work. Like, knock it off. But like I said, if the conservatorship people that Wendy Williams has, or anything like those people that we're dealing with Britney Spears, then listen, it's a lot of slithery things that happen with Britney, in my opinion. And that's what appears to be happening in some capacity. But, if you find the right doctor, meaning the wrong doctor, people that lack integrity, to sign off on, yeah, she probably needs a guardian. Even, I won't even say you have to be a bad doctor. Even just a regular doctor could assess her and say, yeah, there's something there. And that's all the conservatorship people need is a doctor saying, well, I won't say that's all. I'm saying that's their gateway. It is. It's their gateway. She has this mental disorder, or, she has this medical, concern, or this medical diagnosis, and this is the treatment, and she needs to be protected because now we have Wells Fargo saying someone's ciphering off her money. It doesn't take much. And when I say that, I mean, listen, when you go to court, when I worked in the court systems, you would be there all day long. Like on our calendars, we would mark waste of time in that time slot, because it's just like you sitting there for 6 hours waiting for them to call your case. But that's another story for another day. My point is, you're sitting there, and even though I'm listening and I'm typing away on my computer, doing my notes and this, that, and the third, making child plans or parent plans or family plans or whatever it was I was doing 20-something years ago, you go to enough court, you see that the attorneys, the judges, the people, the court report, all these people, it's like an assembly line. At some point, it's just here's another affidavit, judge, here's another judge, here's and you get there and you're fighting with the attorneys and whatever else, and then you're standing up there for 10 minutes, and you didn't have to sit in the courtroom for 6 hours to wait for these 10-minute, don't get me started, 10-minute hearing. That's annoying. My point is, because it's so monotonous and it's the same thing over and over and over and over again, the judge or the court people might just be like, okay, I've seen this type of document before with this type of, issues. Yeah, approved, and move it on the line. I'm not saying that's what happened in this case, because like I said, I don't know, I wasn't there. But I'm saying, if that's what you're doing all day, you're working in a courthouse for family court or whatever, it's not a criminal court, and these people are saying, yeah, we have the doctor's, here's the physician's note, here's the psychiatrist's note, here's this assessment from the whatever treatment center, and this is what we think we should do with her money. Wells Fargo said, da, 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 da. I can personally see how if you moving too many pieces of paper of the same type of paper in front of the judge or whatever judge enough, and let's be very clear, when you're working in the court systems, you learn which judge does what. Meaning, this judge over here, oh, court 316, that judge don't play. Okay, court 312, that judge over there, he's gonna have it fucking three degrees, and so bring your extra coat because you're gonna freeze to death. And this judge over here, she's mean as a, like you kind of get to know what type of judges and their temperament and how they run their courtroom and whatever else. You also will get to know what kind of judges just don't give a shit about certain things. Just is what it is. And so when you do that and you can kind of single out these people who are like these vultures that are putting people like Britney Spears into conservatorships that they don't need to be in my opinion, that's the kind of stuff that they look for. They look for the judge that's gonna, don't really care. Or listen, at the end of the day, judges are people too, just like attorneys. And because of that, they are flawed and can do things that are, such above board. It can happen. So be careful. I think it's a good idea to if while you do have your faculties, because none of us know when we will or won't have them anymore. Because you could be, a cute little tender, 22 years old, get in a car wreck, and now, your cognitive functioning is gone. And someone could take advantage of it. Or you could be Wendy Williams, someone who's been a powerhouse name, telling on celebrities they whole entire life, telling these people business, and, having, a drug issue, having a husband issue and his baby mama issue, but you fought through and became a fixture. I feel like her show was on for like 7 years. I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, sorry, whatever. But and then just it seems like in the blink of an eye, she lost her husband. She divorced him, but and she as she should. But I know that has to be heartbreaking, no matter what your husband does or your wife does or significant other does to make you divorce them or kick them out or whatever. It's hurtful. And if y'all split for real, it's a loss. Even if they're a dirtbag, even if she's a slut bucket, whatever the reason is, that y'all split, even if it's completely justifiable and even if it's amicable, like we just came to a certain point with each other and, we just don't want to do it anymore. Even if it's just that, it still can be hurtful and tragic and traumatic, So I'm sure if, Wendy was probably 55 or something like that when that happened to her, you lose your husband to the skank over here. I don't know that lady. I'm just saying that's probably how Wendy felt. And, now then you lose your show, your job that you worked so hard for, probably, I'm assuming, and your livelihood, meaning all the money that was coming in for her. And now someone is telling you basically get to lose your free will to be able to do whatever it is you feel that you should be able to do. Someone over here is taking your money and putting stops on it, or maybe not letting you access it. I could see how even a sane person would go insane. I'm just saying. So I have compassion for Wendy Williams. I hate that I hate that she's in this situation. She never was my favorite person because I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I feel a way about people that all they do is seek out whatever some salaciousness is going on with other people. It's just like, get a life. If that's all you do all day, every day, that's all you got time to do. That's problematic to me. So that's why I wasn't like the biggest Wendy fan, but she was certainly entertaining. You turn her on and she sitting back, she had her Wendyisms is what I would call her, like the certain things that she would do. And it's just so interesting, but very ironic how she had asked Wendy. I don't know all the people that watch Wendy Williams out there that'll watch this video, but like I would listen to her give this great advice over the years. This is before I knew about Kelvin, okay, the husband, before I knew about him and all his, deviant behavior. Anyways, how he was treating that lady, but I didn't know that he had been cheating on her for like basically seemed like their whole marriage to me. That's what it seemed like. because she wrote about it in that book, Wendy's Got the Heat, or something like that. I think she wrote about it. She wrote something like, I could probably get, and I'm paraphrasing, get through the cheating. I could probably get through that, but don't have a baby. Like, don't be that fucking disrespectful. And then he wouldn't have had a baby. So, then she kicked him to the curb. But anyway, the irony to me is you're over here giving this, Auntie Wendy, seemed like a lot of women asked her advice in the Ask Wendy segments, and she would hatch a plan and tell them what to do. And then her marriage ended in cheating. She couldn't even give her own self the advice, and so then she became the hot topic. And I was like, ooh, like that really set the world on fire. It was just like, cause I don't know if y'all remember that, but I remember that. And like every day after that, I was watching Wendy Williams, because I was like, I want to see how this gonna play out, because she didn't got on TV and talked about everybody else and dragged them and all they business out the closet and into the sunlight, whether or not those people wanted her to or not. Listen, I know it had to be hard for her to be like, yo, because I remember she came back the next day and was just like, I'm never gonna get a divorce, and that's never gonna happen, blah blah blah, not as long as I'm alive or something. I'm like, all right, girl. And then it seemed like later that week, I feel like, I could be wrong about the timeline, but then she got her people together. I guess enough people that loved her was like, no, we ain't doing this, and kicked him out. And then I hate to say it, but I wonder if it's just something that just happened to happen, that her health and everything just seemed to plummet after she got a divorce, because she seemed like she was just fine until she had that situation. Remember, it was like Halloween and she had on like what is it called? What is it called? In the not Empire State Building. What the hell is it? Statue of Liberty. And I remember I was watching that live too. And she just looked dazed and confused. And then she fell down. And then whenever they returned, she had gotten herself together and they pushed her back out there. And again, I think they was Kelvin, her husband, and she was together. And I'm like, oh my God. But to me, that was a little peek into probably a lot of these celebrity lives of the people that we think are great. And then all of a sudden we hear them, oh, they're in rehab. And I'm like, what you in rehab for? And they be like, we in rehab because we exhausted. I've never heard of no rehab where you get, listen, that's a celebrity way of saying, I need to get away, or I have a drug problem or a drinking problem, or I just maybe have a mental problem. Just saying. And because I don't understand people, like, listen, normal people like me, if we get exhausted, we go to bed or we go on vacation. Like, I don't understand like how you got to go to a hospital, but whatever, to each his own. And then it seemed like after that, at some point, she had this admission that she was struggling with her sobriety. That it seemed like at the time she said it was alcohol, but I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't recall because it was so many years ago, but I think it was for alcohol. And she was saying she was living in some sort of sober living facility. And to me, that was seemed like the beginning of the end. And then I think the show went on like either summer break or winter break or some sort of break. And then they had like people who would come and fill in, because I really think they thought that she was coming back. And I still think people really are rooting for her. I'm rooting for her, not necessarily to be on TV or anything like that, but I do think that it's beneficial to everybody, including her, for her to have a space to talk and do her thing. I really do. Her thing is not my thing. Like, I don't get off on, finding out juicy details about other people's lives and exposing them like she did. But listen, it's no different than what's happening on E! News or any of the other pop culture things. They doing the same exact thing. But it's just not my thing. But there's a space for everybody. And that was her space. And I feel like I wish her the best. And I hope that she gets to do that again, mostly because I do think when people retire, you think, oh, I'm going to go travel the world and I'm going to go do all of those things. And I'm here to tell you, I've had several clients where they worked for whatever company, or they put in their good 35, 40 years working, right? And now they're retired and, thinking they're going to go see the world. And it's only so much shopping you can do. And it's only so much, because if you're normal, you have a regular job, you don't have millions of dollars, traveling the world is maybe still 2 or 3 vacations a year, maybe, if you got it like that. So what are you doing for the rest of the 75% of the year? You're bored, your kids are off, they have kids, you got grandkids, and they may not even live in the same city or state with you anymore. And it could be very depressive. I've had many clients like that, where they're depressed because it isn't what they thought it was going to be when they, it isn't what the TV sells us on. Oh, you're vacationing and you're doing this, that, and the third. It's not always. And the older you get, the more of your friends that begin to, no longer be alive. And that can be very, depressing. So I say that to say this. I hope that they figure this out. And I hope that her family doesn't have to continue to spend so much money and effort and resources just to get this lady free from this malarkey that I feel like she's stuck in. But I really do hope that she gets a team around her, like a production team that can, come in and let her do it from her home or from wherever she is. And it could be an hour a day, 5 days a month or 6 days a month. It doesn't have to be, you know what I'm saying? Like 1 or 2 days a week or something like that, just so she can, have something to do. Because I think no matter how smart you are or creative you are, there's only so much of that you can do before you're like, all right, what else? Then you become like a lump on the log. And I think the less engaged you are with society, with being with other people, that's what really takes its toll on people's mental health. And, I think you stop learning, you stop living. Just my opinion, But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments about this Wendy Williams Breakfast Club interview. I heard she also went on like Don Lemon show and talked to him. But from what I could tell, I just think there's definitely something more going on than, meets the eye. And I say that because I have a more trained eye, a more educated eye, more, experienced eye in the mental health field. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know anything about that. I know stuff about it, but not enough to say, I know. I just know that dementia could be very rapid in its decline on someone. So I hope she doesn't have that, but that's what they've been throwing around for some years now. And I wish her well. I wish her son, her niece, and I want to say she has a sister and a brother, but I don't know. I've heard her talk about the sister. I believe is an attorney or something. I'm like, where is the sister? I know the niece is there, but I'm like, where's the sister? But I'm not saying that to say the sister isn't involved. I'm saying that to say I'm ignorant. I don't know. I haven't heard anything from her that I know of. But she seemed to have always been one of those people that was in the background, like not a person that wants to be in front of the TV type person. And it always seemed to me that the sister is someone who Wendy looked up to because she seemed like, I'm saying, she's an attorney. So very prestigious type, people, a lot of times people think that. But she clearly is not a thirst bucket, needing to be in the spotlight and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Chanel's Reality. I'm Chanel. This is my reality. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button if you like the content that you're receiving. And share the video. Hit that notification button so you'll know anytime I go live or if I upload. It's a free and easy way to support my channel. So until the next time, bye guys. Have a good evening, a good weekend. It's gonna be cold in Houston. The sidebar, I had to go to my house because I'm not in my house because I burnt up my kitchen. But anyways, I had to go like buy this thing. What is it called? Some sort of like, it's like a freeze blanket or something, and put the blanket over my lemon tree and over my orange tree and over my little bushes in the front. It's hard work. But thank God I have my little sister, there to help me. Shout out to Carmen. Love her. But yeah, because it's supposed to be like 40 or 30 degrees next week. I'm like, what kind of, I can't. So anyways, if you're in the Houston, Texas area, y'all stay warm. If you're anywhere else, stay warm too. I guess, I don't know if it's cold elsewhere or whatever. But bye, guys. Have a good weekend. See you later.